I know, what do we got today?
I don't know. I mean, the junk fees were something that we didn't talk about last time.
Yeah, that's true.
Something that will be a California thing for sure. So,
Which was interesting. Over the weekend, I was in a couple other businesses that I know charged them, and just like how you brought it up to me, and like I was like, "Hey, dude, have you seen what's going on?" And they're like, "No, I didn't even know." So I feel like for restaurants, it's been a little bit under the radar. Maybe
it seems really easy to miss. So we're talking about California passed a law that's going to ban junk fees starting in July.
And junk fees being any.
Well, I'm getting there, but
go ahead.
No,
please.
July.
Starting July 1st.
July 1st.
July
okay,
1st.
you go with junk fees.
Junk fees being any fee that's not government imposed. So any fee imposed by by a company selling goods or services, any fee outside of what the total cost of that item would be, that now needs to be baked into the price of the good or service.
So that would include a healthcare surcharge. It would include automatic gratuity added at restaurants to parties of whatever, 10 or more like they 6. Do.
I wonder how they're going to do that one. That one seems to be the one that's been the most long-standing. I mean, like if you have 8 people or more, it's auto included. You know, like you can't do that as easily.
Because like you can make a price adjustment for it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that one will be the hardest.
There's going to be people that are going to get stiffed,
do a normal
right?
tip. Yeah, you just wait. And
people are just going to tip, right?
Yes.
Well, but the reason it's there is because there are people that stiff on the
under tip on the
big checks. Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like the only way they're going to get around that one because it's not every transaction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or they raise it in such a way that it's like.
And then there's another one, like I think San Francisco, a lot of companies in San Francisco use it because there's like a mandatory either maybe it's like 401k, like some kind of mandatory retirement contributions that businesses in San Francisco have to make. So that was like a fee that they would, let people know was.
So that'll go away?
Yeah, they're going to have to incorporate that into the price.
How was that? So that was another state law?
Well, that's just a fee. Right. So there's a different state law, just a different San Francisco city law.
Oh, sorry.
Requires companies to contribute to like have mandatory maybe retirement contributions.
So then the state law overrules the city law?
Yeah, so
knocks that out.
So those companies in San Francisco will have to incorporate whatever that percentage was into the price.
Right.
In the same way that we have like a benefits fee that we will have to incorporate into the price.
It's funny to your point, because I can't even remember who told me. Someone told me in passing. Maybe Jenny heard about it on her radio show that she listens to, but it seems like it'd be so easy to miss. Like you could just be running a business.
It hasn't really even been posted anywhere.
Completely miss it.
Yeah,
on IG or anywhere.
And when I was reading into it, it's like, so it's kind of was talked about more October last year, but originally when they were talked about it from the articles I've read, it's like the restaurant industry, groups were told that restaurants would be excluded because really this is meant to go after like Ticketmaster, hotels that charge like resort fees.
Do have a lot of them.
Car rental places, right? Where you like, there's a rate for the car, and then you like get, you return the car back, and it's like there's this fee and this fee and this fee and this fee. Mm-hmm. So it's like I get that. That's like
I like that one.
I like all those.
Yeah. I actually like it all. I think it's a better system. I vote for like whatever, as close as we can get to the actual price we're going to charge the guest. I'm with that. I hate added on fees. Like they're so annoying to me. So I think it's overall good. I don't understand I didn't read into it as much as you, so I didn't understand the full intentions of what they're trying to stop.
Yeah.
Some are more egregious than others.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about like, so for what we do, right? Just letting people know that like, hey, like this is a pretty sizable cost that we face as a business, and I don't know, rather than incorporate it into the price, in the past we had it as kind of like a line item so that people kind of know what they're on their seat, that people know what they're contributing towards. But I mean, I see the other side of it where it's like
I don't think people pay attention and or care about it at all.
Yeah.
In terms of, I don't think people see that little thing on the menu that says 2 or 3% healthcare surcharge and feel like they're doing a good thing. I feel like, or at least for me, like when I go, because the other place, Bywater, their restaurant, David Kinch restaurant, they do a similar thing. They have a surcharge to equalize pay between tipped and non-tipped team members. And I don't feel any kind of way about it because the way I see everything is just like, I just want to know what I'm going to pay. Like I'm paying what I'm paying. In terms of switching it though, I think it's a really easy conversation in terms of if we have, well, I'm sure we're going to have to do a price increase because even though
well, we have to put it on the menu. The price is still the same. It just has to be reflected.
No, the price will go up if we're going to take in the same amount of money.
They still pay the same amount of money.
Correct. They're paying the same amount of money. Well, the price will go up.
Yeah, and that's why like, is there a feeling where it feels better to see like a lower price, but then to know that you're contributing toward the welfare of like, because it's essentially like a tip, right? It's like you said you like want to know what the full price of something is, but you don't really, because you're still going to add, like at the Bywater, you're still going to add a tip onto whatever you pay, and so it's like you're still not really knowing what the total amount of the check is. I would rather not have
tipping be a thing as well. I mean, it's so dumb. Like, it's just annoying to me. That's just my perspective on it. And I think like when I go into places and see those things, I just think like, okay, like now I got to do some math. Like it's like and then.
And I agree because there's all kinds of research on like that tipping is biased and like that there's racism, sexism, bigotry, like that.
I'm not sure like how much I believe like any of that, but like I don't like tipping because I like a nice, clean like market. Like here's what you're gonna pay. The problem and then the business can flesh it out on the back end. So the quirky part that we get into is, well, there's a bunch of different things going. This is like a maybe a micro rant because it's like tipping creates some sort of status. So some people see themselves as higher status when they tip more. It's like part of their identity, or it's like I'm a good tipper. And if you take away their ability to be that good tipper, that's a bummer for them. And it also seems like everybody who's done experiments with no tipping, they haven't been able to generate the same amount of revenue for their employees once they take tipping away. So that's like a little bit of a quirky catch-22 to where it's like it seems like the business model overall works better for the employees if we keep tipping, you know? Like, because how much do you think we could reasonably raise prices if we got away with tipping overall?
I mean, we've done that. We've looked at that before in the past, right? And it's like... what is it like? It's hundreds of thousands of dollars,
right?
Of like, we would have to raise the price, you know, whatever the equivalent was to bring in like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
and I feel like when we've looked at it in the past, it is there are large numbers involved.
Yeah,
I don't remember them exactly off the top of my head.
Like, what do you think that would be for like if a latte is $4, how much is a latte?
So
they're closer to $5.
$5.
I mean, probably we're talking about like doubling prices, probably.
I don't know. Something like probably 7, 8, probably $8. Be my guess.
Yeah,
ish. Well, I don't know. You got credit card tips too. It's a whole thing. I don't know. I mean, people are all over the place, but I don't know. I think people do. I think there's a lot of value in showing what the money is spent for.
Because our team members earn about $10 cash plus credit card. They earn about $10 an hour in tips.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
On top of their pay.
So yeah. So minimum wage is $16.50.
Mm-hmm. In California.
Yep, in California, plus $10 an hour in tips. They're making like $26.50, roughly, estimated.
Yeah.
An hour, entry level.
Yeah, it's such a mixed emotional thing too. Because as a consumer, I just like to know what I want to pay. When I'm on the other side of the counter, I want tips, and I actually don't want my tips to be pooled.
Right, but and then we could like back into it though, right? Because essentially, we would be paying all of our team members essentially like $10. Like if we got rid of tips,
that's how you do
then
it.
we'd be paying our team members like $10 an hour more. And so it's like a 40% labor increase.
Yeah.
Like total just across the company, which would you right?
It's like the dynamic of the.
Then is model. It like an 80? Yeah, that's where I say double.
Yeah.
Like price like double because it's like cool. Prices go up 100%, and then your gross margins, you capture part of that to make it enough to cover, like increase in the labor cost. It's like a math problem, right?
Yeah. And then the crux of the math problem is like, will people voluntarily pay that much money just up front versus them being able to opt in to the tipping zone to where it's like with tips, you can choose your own adventure. Yeah. You could leave $1 or you could leave 10. Yeah. But if the price is just jacked up, who's going to say like, I'm good. That's curiosity.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
No,
I have no idea.
We don't really have a market in the U.S.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's got to be a whole cultural market, or else it's not like everybody has to do it. It can't just be a one-off, because then it's too much of a
because that's the thing. Tipping's a cultural norm. It's not just it's a cultural norm. Yeah. That's it.
And that's our issue.
It's something that we do as a
society,
as a country.
I think I do enjoy the idea of knowing how it's spent. So the additional fees, to me, like if you reverse engineered it, I think it's more meaningful for people to, I think, be on the other side of your point, Chris, is that I would prefer to see in some intention where that money is going. I think that actually makes me invest into a business more if I care. Like there are places that I've gone to in San Francisco, like a place called Zazie, if I remember, and I don't remember the breakdown, but there's the additional fees, and I always felt good about whatever price I was paying with those things because I knew they went into a holistic something for the company. And I'd say that's part of the thing that you don't always know with other places. It's like,
are they just running a bad business?
Are they running a bad business? Is it all going to like only the top and not anybody else? Is there no benefit to working there? And I think when they're run well and there's that transparency, you can actually feel it. So for me, I don't need to know just at the end of the day what I'm paying, because I'm going to be paying it either way. For me, it comes down to like, if I see something on the list of ideas that is cool, I'm like, that's awesome. At least like they're getting something good out of it. The people who are working here, I would prefer no tip as well and have it all banked in. And I think there's a way to even write it down. Like, I mean, we could always get into the freaking understanding the business of showcasing, like, here's how much it generally costs to do all this stuff, and like put that all on some form of receipt. And it's like, here's the price there and here's the price there, but here's what the contribution kind of goes towards.
Right. Which you could do that if you baked in the whole thing, right?
You kind of do it anyway because you want it to be that kind of business, which is a lot. Nobody really wants to do that, but.
Well, you could say though, like, to your point, like we could just have a price and say like, our pricing reflects like, this is what we contribute to this is what we contribute to that, and just it's not an add-on price, it's just a note to, it's like, hey, we do these things.
Yeah.
Like we have these initiatives in our organization.
Yeah. Whether you would be the type of person that likes it or not, I would think it's interesting and like it. It'd be like, I don't know, whatever the price is, you could even have it generalized percentages. It's like X amount of percent labor coverage, X amount of percent cost of goods, X amount of percent this.
Like the whole thing?
Yeah, like, and it'd just be like percentage breakdown of like what the cost is, and then you could own it, like X percent, whatever, call it 10% for the bottom line.
Yeah.
10% for profit for future growth, like whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And that could have always been done. It's not necessarily something that works for everybody, nor does anybody necessarily want to do it. It is a way to begin to communicate what it looks like to run a business. Because I would say that's where the antithesis is like, I hear mostly people who are super well off complaining about price raises versus people who are less well off, to be honest with you. The people that I hear in my lifetime, if I'm like logging it, talking about things that are expensive, are the same people who are like $600 for a ticket to Disneyland, but they have like 4 $60,000 cars at home. And I have a lot of like specific examples in my mind of people in my life who I've known to be those kind of people who are like, in one regard, that's why a lot of people I think are well off, is that they say, hey, there's only a certain amount of money I have, and the rest goes into like investing in future stuff. But it's like, if you showcase yourself in a way where you have all this, and then at the other side are like complaining about the coffee prices and this, that, and the other. It's just, it's different. Like that's what I hear a lot in my experience growing up.
Yeah.
And even now I hear that. Like the people who complain the most about paying for stuff are oftentimes the more wealthy people that I experience. And the ones who are not, they are probably bummed, but I don't think what happens when you're, at least, and I'll speak from straight up my experience growing up, if you don't have the extra money and you want something, or like if you're going to invest in a thing that brings you joy and it goes up a little bit and that's your thing, and you don't have a lot of margin elsewhere, like you're still going to pick that thing, and you might be a little bummed, but it's like, this is my thing. And it's like, you're still grateful for it.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily complain because you're of that culture that it's like, well, this is my thing.
Right.
Whereas the other way, I think, I don't really have a good projection. I have just an experience of hearing that, and I don't usually hear it from the people who are more average in terms of what they make. And I'm not sure that's, they might think it's too, I don't know if that's true. Like completely, I'm projecting. I don't have like any data.
Sure.
Except for internal experience, but it'd be interesting to, I just think that's one of those things. And I think all the working class are going to be living this no matter what. And so, I'm like, what do we do to communicate it in a way that's beneficial? I guess is where I go with something like that.
Yeah. Because I think,
what do we do to make it easier for the guest experience? I've always liked round numbers, whether it works or doesn't.
I know, me too. It's
can we make something a flat 6 versus a 4.98 or something?
It's less, it bothers me less now that almost no one pays with cash, but that was something that we were really trying to figure out back in the day. Like, how can we make everything end on a quarter or a whole dollar?
Yeah.
But then nickels, dimes, and pennies.
Yeah, it's just like no one wants to carry around 38 or 67 cents in their pocket. It's like, let's just exchange dollars and quarters, please.
But I mean, like, what about like it's these restaurants that nobody goes to consistently, but like the Atelier Crens and all the Michelin places, like everything's banked into a pre-price, including whatever. Yeah, and so whatever that is kind of nice in that way because you're going in, you're gonna eat, and you're gonna leave, and there's gonna be no talk of anything. Yeah, and that's kind of cool. When you know and can trust that, well, one, you're getting your experience worth, so that's happening there no matter what. If you're going to get 3 Michelin stars and be one of the best in the world, that's a thing. But if it's at a normal place that you might go to every single day, knowing that you're just going to go, you're going to pay, it's going to be worthwhile, and it's simple, and it's all there, I like that too, which I know you're kind of getting at. It's like, let's just pay and have a good time and walk away.
I think, you're bringing up some stuff because I have so many different emotions on this, and one of my biggest frustrations lately is if you take something like Atelier Cren, you hit on it. Like whatever the price is, it's hundreds of dollars for a sitting for one person. Yeah. So if you go with a group, you're spending thousands of dollars, like, add wine, whatever. But you're not going to be bummed. There's almost zero chance you're going to be bummed.
There's no buyer's remorse in that place.
No.
You might feel stressed because you spent money that you maybe shouldn't have spent if you decide to go there. Well, but you're not stressed in a way where you're like, that wasn't worth it. It's more like, dang, that was a lot of money. That was awesome and totally worth it.
Right. If that was your thing, you would kind of plan that. Exactly. Like that would be your family vacation. Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. We're either going to Disneyland this year, we're going to the Grand Canyon for several days and visiting relatives, or we're going to eat at Atelier Cren. Those are the options.
$100 a person.
And then it's like, pick whatever you want. That's your fun budget for the year.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're not going to have a buyer's remorse. And I think one of the things that just frustrates me to no end with people who are more in the same, I don't want to say the same space as us, but coffee shops, restaurants, things that are more day-to-day experiences, is that you get hit with these fees. Mm-hmm. You get hit with the ever-increasing percentages of tips on the buttons that you can push. What used to be
totally. Everything's got
10, 15, now. 20, it's like 15, 20, 25.
Yeah.
And then like what I call tricky tips where, and I'm not sure if we do this, maybe we had this conversation, but for lower, but things below a certain threshold, it goes to dollar amounts. Yeah. Where you've got $1, $2, and $3 options. Mm-hmm. So if you got a cup of coffee, it'd pop up 1, 2, 3. Once you hit a certain cash threshold, it jumps up to percentages, which is a sizable amount on food items. And all these things, and I'm just like, okay. I just don't like that as a baseline anyway. But I think the thing that pisses me off the most is the fucking people that are charging them aren't even good at what they do. And that's insane to me. It's like, dude, if you're going to position yourself as a specialty purveyor with specialty prices and tack on all these fees, you better fucking hit it out of the park on a regular basis. Sure, everybody has a bad day, but overall, I'm finding myself being more frustrated and just like opting out. It's like, yeah, I can't even come here anymore. Because for a, rewind, like you could get a cappuccino for a few bucks and a scone for a couple bucks. You'd be out the coffee shop for less than $10. And now we're in the land of $13 avocado toast. And, if you get a latte, add alternative milk and something special to it, it's like, dude, you're easily out $20. Easy with tax and tip. It's like, take it to the moon. And I'm with you. If that's your thing, like, I don't think I'm ever going to stop going to coffee shops.
Yeah, right.
Because it's moment of zen for me. I love the cafe culture. I love being there. But what I am doing is frustratingly whittling down the places where I feel comfortable going in and just wondering, because I have buyer's remorse often where I drop $20 and I'm just like, dude,
Not
that
worth
was
it.
like a $6 experience at the most. The people weren't attentive. The coffee was mediocre. The preparation was mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, even if they're using good beans, and the food item that I got was, 6 out of 10 in terms of execution and perfection. So I'm just like seeing this. I'm wondering where the tension point is between the people who are really doing it, really taking control of the experience and owning it, versus pretenders who are, just by means of affiliation, like, oh yeah, we're all specialty coffee companies, or we're all like specialty yeah. And it's like, when does that split and people say, dude, no, like this is not a $23 experience I'm having. So that's frustrating for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm really proud of what we do, and I don't get to experience that as a guest too much. But when I feel like I'm getting that level of service and that level of execution, I feel good. When not, I feel like I'm getting robbed, and it's annoying.
It's definitely memorable when you get it elsewhere. So, I mean, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
they've also added tips to everything now, which is interesting, with like the changeover to everything being credit card, and then most of these POS systems kind of being linked in some capacity. It's already kind of built into their system. So places that never used to take tips all have tip availability. And so that's kind of interesting in and of itself. And more so, I'm like, for those kind of companies who never ran on tips anyway, that are like not restaurant, they're not, it's like, I don't even know what it's a good example that I noticed the other day. Whatever. I just noticed it more and more.
I have one.
Yeah, where do those tips actually go now? Because it's not even banked into the normal business.
It's food service. This one, I think I maybe talked about it before. It's food service adjacent. I went to an event at San Jose at some theater. It was a speaking event, and I got a bottle of water at the theater.
And the tip screen pops up.
Dude rings me up, and the tip screen pops up.
I know.
And I'm just like, dude, I'm buying a bottle of water.
Yeah. Actually,
Like,
the movie
from a
theaters are a good one. I think the movie
from-
theaters have tips
It
now.
was like a concession stand, and it just took me back. I was like, huh. Okay, I just didn't expect that. I think I left a tip because I was just so caught off
we're
guard.
so used to it, right?
I'm just like, all right, fair. It just seemed really interesting to me. And then to go service is another weird one.
Where they'll still throw the tip on there too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so here's an example. Bookies. It's probably the best food in Santa Cruz, or it's some of the best food in Santa Cruz.
For sure. Hands down.
For my money.
Salad.
Like, salad's incredible.
Wings,
the pizza's
Detroit-style
incredible.
Pizza performed by a Michelin star food person.
Yeah. Dude's on point. Pizza is not cheap, totally worth it. And I always get a takeout, and there's a tip, and I always leave a tip. But I'm always like, what am I tipping for? Because there's no service experience there's no service experience. I'm just taking it to go.
But we do know they split books there, so that is all tips for them is all related to creation of whatever said food. But you're right.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I would instead of paying $25, I would happily pay $30 or $32
no tip
for a pizza. I'm just confused on what we're doing sometimes.
Well, right, because there isn't a thing.
Because so if in a coffee shop, you've got essentially people who are the bulk of employees at coffee shops are kind of just entering into the workforce. For a lot of people, it's their first job or in their wave of first jobs. They're going to school. They have another part-time thing going on. And when I tip at a coffee shop, I'm kind of voting for, I would like to get really good service.
Sure.
And I'm also just kind of voting for young people to where it's like, oh, I'm in a place where I can leave a couple extra bucks for someone who's new to the workforce and they can go out to dinner with their friends.
Yeah.
And as long as they're reasonably friendly, even though I don't like tipping, I don't like the whole thing, that's like kind of what I'm feeling like with it.
And it's been what we've done anyway.
But once I get into these higher echelon things, I'm just like, this dude could charge whatever he wants for a pizza.
Yeah.
Like he's setting the pricing structure, and I don't think people are going to walk away at $3, $5, or even $10 more because what he has is that compelling. So what am I tipping for?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, where you get into the argument of like percentage and discrepancy. Like when you open the business, you don't know that yet, like you can believe in your stuff, but if you open a business and you are, I don't know, we'll say like a third or a little more than that, more expensive than the next guy, you've really got to be perfect. So that just might be the tension and fear of like, if I go that hard out the gate, do I succeed? And I have to succeed. So I can see that part. But I agree with you. Like
potentially,
maybe not out the gate.
I feel you.
Yeah,
you're like
if we started our company,
I can't come into the market hot with a $40 pizza and expect people to show up when they don't know me or how delicious it is.
Like that's the thing. Like we in the context of opening our company opened it with a lot of like people know who we were, especially on the east side in town. So we probably could have gotten away with something a little more egregious if you think about it like that. But this dude, super, super awesome, but worked, behind the scenes as a chef, behind the famous chef. Right. So like they're never going to say, only the people who know are going to go that route and be like, this is who this is. So I could see that.
I get it. Yeah.
But it's also, now that we know, I agree with you. Like I would easily, it's easier for everybody.
And I'm not hating on him. I'm using bookies as a example to just kind of have the discussion. Happy to give them my money. That's great.
But I mean, even that's like a whole, it's almost the same conversation we were talking about with like, what even is the intention in this specific culture? Because it used to be around hospitality at restaurants, but not really as well. Because then it's like a bartender was supposed to get $1 even if they just popped a beer for you. And the same dollar for if they made a cocktail for you originally, right? That was like what I grew up. Yeah. It's like, if you go to a bar
yes,
and you're going to get 4 drinks and in Chico, it's like, oh, cool, tonight's pint night. So they're $1 pints. So, okay, if you're getting a $1 pint, you still have to bring, an extra $1, no matter what it was. But that was when I was younger, right? Even if it was a $10 drink, it's $1-ish per drink. It wasn't percentage based. Yet at a restaurant, it's percentage based. And then at the coffee shop for a long time ago, it was like, not actually expected that you would get tips. It was kind of a big deal if you got some good tips early on. And then you started earning it with our hospitality. And then it became a thing over time. It was like, tip them like you would a bartender. And we're still not even completely there, but we're on our way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no specificity for like what you're supposed to tip.
There's no rules.
There's no there's no cultural guidelines. It's just like, just do it.
Well, I think, that's an important point because where I came from, the bar rule applied to coffee shops. So $1 was the tip to leave at a coffee shop, no matter what you got. It didn't matter if you got just a cup of coffee, you leave $1.
Yeah.
I got coffee and a scone and some sort of panini or wrap thing, which was pretty common. Like back in the day, it's sure you just leave $1 because it's just a gesture,
right?
And if someone's really fucking
flat rate,
someone's blowing your mind. You fucking
$2-3
lace them out. I remember the first time I went to Ritual, 2005, when they first opened. I went with Tony, and Eileen was on bar. Ryan Brown was on bar. I never experienced anything like that. We got our stuff. I drank it, and then I went back and tipped afterwards. And I think I gave him $5, which then was like
huge deal.
Substantial.
Your mind.
Now it's peanuts, right? But I was just like, damn, that's awesome. Like, epic. Here you go. So that's where I came from. And now I think that's the thing that's got me angry. There is no cultural norm for it. So it's up to each organization. So each company, by virtue of what they're programming in that POS, they're basically making a claim on here's what you should tip. Because if the tip screen hits you and it's 15, 20, 25%, it's almost taboo, or it makes you feel weird to click the custom tip and then just drop $1 in there, you know, because you're like, oh, the reg op's going to see that go through. And then everybody behind the line sees that. And now I'm just the cheap guy. And what is that? So I don't like that. I don't like that unless you're fucking, you better be fucking bringing it. You better be bringing it. 25% pops up on that screen. You better be delighting the fuck out of me. Like, there's no room for error. If you are fucking, if you got the gall to ask for 25%, you better be fucking blowing my mind.
Right.
Like, go for it. And that, because you're asking for it, it's not the person at the register asking for it.
Right.
The person at the register is not programming that register.
No.
They just got stuck there, right? They work there. So you're making a claim about your culture, your training process, your investment in your employees, your product, everything. You're saying like, yeah, you should totally leave 25% tip. And if you can't back that up, I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
I mean, you also might, if you want me to play a kind of a dick card.
Yes.
You might be the owner who's putting that on there so that you never have to talk about raising pay, because the tips kind of like by force of that social pressure go up naturally. And then you get to say something like, well, actually, you get tipped $15 an hour here. So like, you know, like, and I don't, you know, like that's not us, but I wouldn't be surprised if some business owners intentionally are like, oh, interesting. I'm not going to change that, you know? And then let's be honest. I bet you a bunch of business owners just put on the POS and that's pre-programmed in there and they don't even look at it and it just is what it is. And they have zero intention whatsoever,
the program,
which is actually probably like 80%
fair.
of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's also stupid. You know, it's like, that means like you're not even paying attention anyway, team leaders, managers, and owners. Like, and I don't have, again, I have all projection of what I think could be. And I'd say probably 10 to 15% are the negative card I just played, and probably 70% plus are the rest. It's just like whatever it came with, stock option on Revel and Square, whatever it got programmed as is what it is. And they are, a lot of them automatically programmed to, you know, under 10 or under 20 or whatever it is, right? There's like the 1, 2, 3, you hit that threshold. Wherever you have to sign for it officially is where it hits the next level.
Yeah.
And the end, you know? And I think that's, I just don't like intent. I don't like lack of intention. And that's where I go back to like, just fucking break it all down. Let's see. Break it all down. Show me. And like, let me know why I have to pay what I have to pay. Because now I'm starting to realize that there's so many, it's expensive, inflation, fees, taxes, so on and so forth for everyone. It's just like, it'd actually be easier to just understand it and then have no qualms in a way, or qualms with being like, you know, people complain about gas prices, but the gas prices go up and down. They are what they are. And I'm like, what are the things that are keeping everybody in this vote? Like, where we can't do anything about it. And it's like, then we can stop complaining. Cause like, I can't change the taxes. I can't change this. I can't change the junk fee thing. I can't change whatever. And I also we want to offer whatever these things may be in our business. And at that point, it's like, cool. These are kind of non-negotiables. We can't get around it. So I hear anybody else out there who wants to complain about it, but you're basically complaining about gas fees and freaking the economy at this point, because it's stuff that's a little bit out of our control, you know, in some capacity. It's like gas in California. It's so fucking expensive. Yeah, there's a bunch of taxes on gas in California. And then you go to the Midwest or whereversville, and it's like $2 cheaper because there's less taxes. And it's like,
there's a bunch of taxes on everything in California.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Awesome. So it's like, we can all complain about that, but it's still totally out of our control in a lot of ways. So then it's like, let's just communicate what's going on and try our best, because, you know, I'm just learning there's so much shit to stress out about and be angry about anyway, without having to deal with all the extra stuff like that. Then I'm like, man, how can we make it less? How can we make it the most easy for the guests to interact with and just understand and walk away? Give them the least amount of external stress by way of dealing with our company and your company. That seems to me like the work for everybody's business to do in the future. And then, own your shit, dude. If you're like a tire company, well, I mean, who knows? Maybe if you're the best tire company, you're really fast. Maybe that's why you do put the tip screen in. But like, if you're a tire company, you just like put the tip screen in all of a sudden because it comes with your POS. Like, has that ever been the culture, you know, or whatever it might be? And I'm seeing it all. That's the thing. I'm like, I don't get it, dude. Maybe let's write some rules.
Did you have a tip at a tire
No, but I'm starting to see it in places that are like more in that lane. And it's not always food service now. It really truly feels to me like if you just upgrade your POS to something like Revel and you're a company, a lot of people just aren't taking it off.
So for us, we're going to have to get rid of that surcharge.
Yep.
And then we're going to have to do a good job of communicating.
Yeah, we can put it in the back end of our POS and put it on any receipt that comes to you too, like what percentage of what goes to what. Or we can write something on our, through our world in marketing and put it on the
like
stuff, the menu.
It could be on the menu. Could
website.
Be like, it's kind of just like a here's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, we offer Anthem Blue Cross. This is part of it. It costs, we don't have to say everything. You don't have to nobody necessarily cares about every detail, but I think those things are valuable to people. I mean, it is to me at least, I should say. I'd like to know, and I feel good. It also gives a little bit of understanding when you go into a place and you're like, man, all these people are crushing it and killing it. What's going on here?
I think that's where maybe I agree with you more than I was letting on earlier, to where the first thing that has to happen is people have to do a good job.
Absolutely.
And if that doesn't happen, I don't give a fuck about what you put on your menu or what good you're invested in, because you're just not doing a good job. So it's like, oh, we do 3% healthcare contribution. Yeah, but you can't make a cappuccino. So what the hell are you doing? You shouldn't even be in the game. Get the fuck out of the game, or get your weight up and really get into the game. And then it's like, cool. Yeah, I would love to support a place that is overall doing what they can.
Yeah.
To I don't even know, is help the right word? I
think support.
Provide a good experience for the people that work for that company.
And everyone, right?
To me, everyone has a different opportunity, a different level that they can do that with, because in a monetary sense.
Absolutely,
right?
a true fact.
The more productive your company is, the bigger numbers you're dealing with. And productive, I mean, how do you describe it? It's unit of return per unit of labor, or
unit of revenue, unit of return per unit of revenue would be how efficient your business is, right?
Right.
Or productive. Sorry, right?
Productive.
A Google is very productive, right? Because they're have a high, I don't know, income percentage relative to their revenue, right?
Sure. Yes, exactly. And if you took in the coffee world, if you took a retail cafe that did the same top line as a wholesale program, the wholesale program is going to be more productive because generally it's got less people working for it. It doesn't require as much labor
or other costs.
Yeah, productivity and total revenue. It's you can do a lot with that, and some people just don't have as much of that. But it's not about everybody giving the same high thing. It's just doing what you can and paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest, I don't know, the more I go, those things are nice. They help. The healthcare contribution's cool.
They can. This is also what you're thinking, could be the truth, is if you are, call it smaller, and you don't have the money to do X, but then you add this thing to make it available, that should be something that in turn generates energy, gratefulness, ease, whatever it might be in whatever that company is, right? So if you're going to say to yourself, or whatever, if we go in somewhere and it's the first shop they ever had and there's a 5% healthcare fee to do something, hopefully they're doing it and they're not taking in that 5% and it's not in return making people's lives better, and that's, I think, where
it's just
to double down on your point. It's not only should the cappuccino be killing it, but also are the people taken care of as best that you can with that money? Are you using it for those things?
Right. And I think that's bring it full circle. It's that's the government, the politicians who are proposing this law. It's that's where they're coming from. It's all the rental car fees and the resort fees at hotels and all these fees. It's it's just what you're talking about, right? It's you can't be really transparent with what are these for, then why are they even there? They're just saying it's not a clear way. It's it's not clear pricing for the consumer.
Totally. And I've heard a lot of rumblings about hotels and people who are not taken care of that work for those hotels, yet there's all those things. And I think that is a great potential example of the whole point.
The hotel shit's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like every time we book for a work trip, it's the advertised price and the end price are just. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
every time it
25%.
surprises me, even though I know it's gonna happen. I'm just like, what the fuck? Why don't you just put it on there?
Yeah,
I don't even know what it's for either. That's the thing.
It's a resort fee. Don't
what
you
is
know?
that? Like
that's what I said.
It's yeah, exactly.
Simple.
A resort fee. That just sounds like the price. So I get it anyway.
Yeah.
Get your ducks in order, everybody, so you don't get fined.
Yeah,
Button up and buckle up.
Because that's the other really big part of why this is so important. It's like you could so it's like as a coffee shop, for every occurrence, like if you didn't change it, like for every occurrence, it's like you could be sued for like $1,000.
Wild. It's wild.
Right. So it's like the penalties are high.
Very high.
Yeah.
Do not break the rules ever.
Yeah.
Not here. Man.
Never. Gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Yeah.
Never gonna get it.
Yeah, we've been meaning to talk about it because we didn't talk about this last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Man. I don't know.
Went deep.
I guess we've got a lot to ponder. Shut it off, Wiser.
Hey everyone, that's the podcast for the week. Thanks so much for listening. If you heard something that inspired you, let us know, or tell a friend. These are the types of connections that are the most important to us and that we seek to create every day. If there's something you heard and you want to know more about, send us an email to podcast@catandcloud.com or head to our website, catandcloud.com/podcast, and let us know. While you're on our site, check out everything we have to offer. Dive deep into one of our single origin coffees or pick up a little treat for yourself. We have something for everyone, so check it out. Also, find us in the usual places, YouTube, Instagram. We're always there sharing amazing things. All right, that's it. Thanks everyone for being awesome. We'll be back next week.